Are you looking to expand your aesthetic practice and attract high-quality new patients? Discover the power of digital marketing in growing your practice with a personalized strategy session. Schedule your meeting today by visiting www.businessofesthetics.org/MSM and take the first step towards transforming your practice with the potential of digital marketing.
You're invited to join our exclusive monthly webinar brought to you by the Business of Aesthetics community. Don't let this chance slip through your fingers. Secure your spot now for a game-changing experience. Register for free on our homepage at www.businessofesthetics.org and get set to transform your strategies.
Welcome to another episode of the Business of Aesthetics podcast, brought to you by our gold sponsors, Equa Marketing. Today, we're excited to hear from Naren Arora. Over to you, Naren.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our business panel, the very first business panel of 2024. We are calling it the topic we're going to be covering today is how to incorporate membership plans to grow your practice. How to incorporate membership plan to grow your practice. I have amazing guests with me. I'll be your host. My name is Naren Arora. And the first one I would like to introduce is Steven. Steven is the co-founder and general manager at Vitality Aesthetics. And also he's the president of Elevate Medical Aesthetics Training. Sarah Schickman is a managing partner at Lengia Law. She's a lawyer, as you probably guess, and she's an expert, and also she's a supporter of the Business of Aesthetics community. She has been, for more than a year now. Adrian Easterling. Am I pronouncing your name correctly, Adrian? Adrian is the founder and director CEO of Voxy Aesthetics. And then, of course, last but not least, we have Ryan Davis. He's a digital marketing advisor at Equa Marketing. And the reason we have a lawyer, a marketing expert, and two people in the trenches is we wanted to give you a different, a holistic perspective. So this topic of incorporating membership plans, we want to cover it from all angles. So this way, you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's. So welcome everyone to this business panel. And I'm going to start with Steven. Steven, welcome. Tell us a bit about yourself. I just, read your bio, in a line or two. And then also, once you have introduced yourself, what motivated you to offer membership plans in your practice? And also, what has been your experience with membership programs?
Yeah, so I have a background. I spent 10 years as an Army officer. And one day my wife came to me and says, hey, I think I want to start my own aesthetic practice. At the time, she'd been an injector for about 7 years, worked for some large corporate med spas, such as, Ideal Image, and then went into plastic surgery and dermatology and private practice. I felt like she could just do it a little bit better. And so we took about a year. I learned everything I could about business, dedicated myself to every business online school you can imagine. And we started. And so our biggest mistake was not having a membership from day one. We're almost 4 years in, not quite. We've lost well over $1 million by not having a membership. We didn't have a membership until 9 months in. And for us, we felt like the patients who follow their treatment plan the best get the best results. And we wanted to make this a way for patients to stay on their treatment plan without it being salesy, without us having to constantly market to them, come back in for this, come in for that. And so we created a membership that has a wallet feature, right? And so every 3 to 4 months, over 50% of their treatments are paid for. And for us, the goal was to make it easy to spend money with us and to not make the upfront costs that are due the day of treatment so high. And so far, we do about $35,000 per month come in on the first of the month, every single month. And that's growing by about $4,000 to $5,000 per month. And so all of our bills are paid for, all of our fixed costs for the entire month are paid for. So if I don't make a single dollar, I can pay all my staff, we can pay ourselves, we can order product. And so it's good. We really enjoy it.
Thank you. I just have a quick question for you, Stephen. Can you kind of describe your membership plan? How much is it? What does it cover? Is it just one tier, or is it like, give us like some color as to how you do it?
Yeah, so we are considering memberships. There's really two types. You've got memberships that focus around monthly treatments, and then you have memberships that focus on either perks, benefits, or savings. So we went with the latter. Our members pay $149 per month, and that gets them 10% off of all services. We picked $149. There's actually a mathematical equation that we can go into later about how to pick your pricing, what treatments you're going to do, that kind of thing. And so it's all done through Aesthetic Record, which is really seamless. It's really a great feature of that particular EMR. And patients have their own wallet. They can see what's going on, but most really don't care. They have a card on file, and they just say, charge my card on file. And they just we take the money directly out of the wallet at any time. So if someone wants skincare, we can actually pull the money out of their wallet and then ship the skincare to them without ever having to see them. They don't have to come pick it up. They don't have to see us, right? So just making that experience as seamless as possible, as high quality as we can for the patient.
So is that 149 just gives me the 10% off, or do I actually get to use that 149 towards
the 149 banks every single month?
Okay.
We have learned some lessons through that. So we put a restriction on it that they cannot bank for more than 8 months. You know, the worst thing you want is all of a sudden, if you don't pay attention to it, you look down and someone's got $1,600 in their wallet. And technically it's still their money because you haven't exchanged services for it, right? And it goes on your balance sheet as a liability, similar to selling a package of microneedling, right? Until you fulfill the microneedlings, technically the money's theirs. And so, yeah.
Thank you. Sarah, let's switch gears. Of course, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your firm, and let's talk a little bit about, what are some of the things that practice that's currently, implementing a membership plan, or perhaps considering implementing a membership plan, should think about when they are structuring a membership plan, or, about their current membership plan from a legal standpoint.
Perfect. So my name is Sarah. I'm the managing partner at Lingia Law. I know many of you here, and we work with lots of medical spas around the country, helping people start med spas, sell med spas, compliance, employment, all the different contracts around that. And before starting Lingia Law, I helped start Julie Aesthetics and Aesthetic Record, and we were one of the first people to actually have memberships. So from the membership perspective, from the legal side, something that's very important is really figuring out what your membership is going to be, and then having a tight legal contract around that, and making it very easy for people to sign it and to sign up to be a member. So it's a combination of having a good legal protection, but also from the business perspective, really making it easy. And then when we see these different practices that we represented who get sold, when, for example, a private equity buyer looks at a company, recurring revenue is considered much better than standard patient revenue that comes in, once in a while. So having the membership revenue, even if, it's $100,000, it's valued at much more than the same $100,000 if it was regular revenue.
That's brilliant. Anything that they have to watch out for from a legal standpoint? Like I know, like for example, you can't call it insurance. I have some practices in the insurance space, and so they'll be very careful in how they name it. They call it savings plan, a membership plan, but definitely the word insurance. Or so any landmines?
Definitely. So some states have a mandatory cooling off period, meaning if you have someone sign up for a membership, you have to give them some number of days to cancel the contract. Some states have rules about how you have to keep the money that's in a membership. And then some states have rules about what happens if you have a membership where the money expires. So financially speaking, like Stephen was saying, it's becomes a problem if you have a membership that, let's say someone has $1,600 on file, they haven't come in, but technically the money is theirs and not yours. You can't just keep it. And some states have laws around that. So you just have to be careful about how you treat that money. From a legal perspective, it's much cleaner to have a membership that expires, but then contractually, you have to say and make it super clear to the people that, okay, if you don't use your benefit in month one, you're going to lose it. And if you don't say it that way, if it's vague in any way, the person can come after you and say, make different claims. So it's better to have it really spelled out in a really good membership contract.
Thank you. Adrian, I'm going to switch gears to you. Again, introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about yourself. And in your experience, obviously, you are implementing a membership plan. What are some of the benefits that you notice? And talk about in real life, how has a membership plan helped you? Again, any numbers, any details would be awesome. And touch on challenges, when you possibly think about discounting services through membership plans or opportunities, if it's a good or a bad thing. So it's a multi-pronged question, but.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so, well, I'm Adrienne Easterling. I'm a physician assistant and I'm the founder of Oxy Aesthetics and Wellness. I also have my Art of Injecting Training Academy. Sorry, my cat keeps trying to climb in front of the screen here. So, memberships for me have been huge. It's been super successful. It's all about building community loyalty, marketing your brand locally. Building that community has been really fun for me too, because we hold these really fun VIP events for all our members. I try to avoid using the word even membership, because sometimes that term, it has a negative connotation because they feel locked in or they're like subscribing to something. And so we try to kind of use it as like, more of a self-love club, a self-care, like, beauty bank, or like a way to save money for their future services. And there's different ways to do memberships, obviously. And the way we personally do it is as a beauty bank, or again, like that self-care savings or that secret savings account that you have for all things Voxy, as we're Voxy Aesthetics. So, and we have wellness services now too. And what's really been fun is the community aspect. So we hold these VIP events where only our members are invited to attend. So even tomorrow night, we have a Burn Boot Camp event, for a free event where we host and just we've rented out movie theaters, have Top Golf events, we have all these fun community events that helps build brand awareness, but also just makes it a fun community, a fun community thing. So, our members are excited about these things, and also it's kind of a no-brainer. So I'm a brand new business. We've been open 1 year. We have over $1 million in recurring revenue. We are bringing in over, I think, around $85,000 a month currently. And we just started our memberships in like literally less than a year ago. And so every day we get new members. What I do know when I first opened my practice is I wanted to find a way to reward my loyal clients. And in my local community, because I'm in Northwest Arkansas, Arkansas, like who would have thought, we'd be, a booming practice, but we, have a lot of our dermatology practice or plastic surgery practice that hold open house events, which I think is another great way to promote loyalty. And so the way that works is you bank a bunch of money and pretty much all at one time, right? So you hold an open house and people can bank money towards their future treatments and they get their discounted rate for the year. Well, for me as an injector working in a practice that had an open house, it was difficult because we would be slammed. I would have all my patients waiting until after open house to do their procedures to save on their money. And then, there would be times of the year that would be really busy and then a little bit slower. But with the membership where they're banking a little bit of money every month, they're able to save all year long and get discounts on their services throughout the year. Our discounted rates to me are kind of our normal pricing. And then if they're not a member, it's higher pricing. So we're still, have kind of a good revenue with our normal priced treatments, even for our members. I would say, one of the things I remember with opening the practice is that in 5 years, we're probably going to have around 100 times competition. And so I think it's just really smart to find a fun way to differentiate yourself, to, retain clients, because, community, retaining clients, loyalty, and even just once they're a member and say they're coming to see me specifically, well, now they have money on their account and they're going to go to my esthetician and to the other services at our practice, because now, they have money banked up for anything at our practice, which has been huge.
Thank you. Just real quick, two-part question. One is, somebody said, okay, how is it structured? How much, just like Stephen kind of outlined how his plan. So if you can talk about that. And two, I love the fact you got $1 million in recurring revenue in less than a year through membership plans. How did you do it? What's your secret? So maybe two quick follow-up questions.
Okay, so let's see where to start. Our very first grand opening, before we opened the doors, we had we had already been open maybe a month, and then we had our grand opening party. And at this party, it was when we launched our memberships, and we had over 100 members sign up that day. So that was already 100 members, first grand opening. I have a small business. It is 1,500 square feet. It's small, but we managed to fit a lot in one little space. I mean, I'm new business, open a year, learning a lot. So we had a grand opening, and the way we promoted the memberships was we had a booth, and we really explained a lot about it. And we had, if you signed up to be a member that day, you got a discount on your Botox or Dysport. So our reps were able to actually help us with samples of Botox and Dysport to give all the new members that sign up that day a certain discount on their first treatment. And it was a good discount. I think it was like $150 off their first treatment if they signed up as a member that day. And so that was very successful. And then we had, raffles and a band and music, and it was just a fun event. And, I think people are excited for me to be opening up a new place in our area. And then in terms of, how do we promote the memberships, or how do we, get people to sign up? It's really, we don't even have to sell it that much, because it really is such a no-brainer. So for instance, every patient that comes in, they hear about our, VIP plan, our membership plan. So we call it our Voxy Vault. So it's like the vault where you save your money. So you're banking money towards your future treatments. And we have 3 tiers. So we have our, $99 a month, $149 a month, and then $199 a month. So 3 different tiers. First tier gives you discounts on just your neurotoxin and skincare. And then your second tier gives you discounts on your neurotoxin and fillers and skincare. And then the third tier gives you discounts on everything. So your lasers, your wellness, whether it's hormones or discounts on all the other 2 tiers have too. And with any 3 tiers, it's still just their money banked towards their future treatments. So a lot of our members are in that middle to third tier. And then if you kind of think about, okay, so if your average patient is spending $600 every 3 months for neurotoxin, and they're banking $149 a month, by the time they're back in for their visit, they have about $450 banked. So they're only going to owe that day $150 left over. Now, if they're not a member, they're going to owe quite a bit, their price is going to be quite a bit higher. When I have patients come in, we typically will have our consultation. I'll talk through, everyone's a little bit different on what they want to hear. And I don't ever, try to push anything on anyone, but we definitely always discuss skin. We discuss kind of facial harmonization. And then we have some people that come in, they just want to hear about potential Botox treatments, right? And so they have the option of just hearing about what we can do Botox wise, or if they want a year at a glance, like have a full year of like, this would be what my recommended plan is for you for the full year, we can do that for them. It's really kind of open-ended on how much we give. We can be as hand-holding as they want, or we can kind of be as back off as much as we want. But after the consultation, I leave the room and I come out and I write down on a sheet of paper like their plan that I've come up with. And then my medical assistant goes back in the room and she'll show them the pricing of our member pricing versus our non-member pricing. And in that moment, they can see, oh, wow, I'm going to save this much money today if I become a member. And there's no fee to becoming a member. It's just a way to save money for future treatments. And typically every month, we're always looking at our new patient to member ratio, like how many of our new patients become members, and we're at 85%.
Wow.
So we try to keep it at that. And that's our goal for my team. I don't have to incentivize my team by bonusing them more or doing more like that. Really, we have our team meetings and we go over our they know my goal of hitting that 85% mark, and if we hit that, then I do something special for them, whether it be a lunch or a fun event, or we take them somewhere or whatever it is. But I don't necessarily have to, because there are people that will do that. They'll give bonuses for if you get this many signups and things like that. But really, most our patients become VIPs, and so it's just kind of, again, we kind of explain it as a no-brainer. If you plan on coming in frequently for your neurotoxin treatments or your filler treatments, then there's no reason why you shouldn't become a VIP.
Adrian, you should get a PhD or an award in running a business. I mean, that's amazing what you've done in 1 year. I'm sure Sarah is looking at it like I am, because I've been doing it for 18 years. You are pretty smart. I mean, for somebody who's been doing it for a year, this is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a lot. So you did mention the negatives. The negatives I would say would be the back end. So I love Steven said he uses Aesthetic Record. We personally don't have, my patients don't have access to see how much money they have in their wallet. We are using RepeatMD. And I know there's a lot of, negative reviews out there about RepeatMD. We have been working closely with, the CFO, with the company to help us build out like kind of a more synchronized way of managing on the back end, because that part has been a little bit difficult. For a while there, we were doing a lot of it manually, surprisingly. I had no idea what this was going to be when I started this. I didn't know we were going to have over 600 members, and I had no clue. So now we're at that sustainability of keeping track of things. So Aesthetic Record is an option. Zenoti is an option. Now with RepeatMD, we're working on getting things kind of fixed to where we can keep with them. And so we actually just had a big meeting with them today, and things are looking positive for us, which has been tricky, but we are getting there. Because right now we do have some manual checkpoints that we're having to do to keep track of how much money they've spent and how much money they have banked. And so that part got a little bit tricky, but now we're finally getting to a place where that's a lot better.
Thank you. Let me switch gears, and now let's talk about marketing. So Ryan, same question. Introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about yourself. A membership plan without members is useless, right? And I know the number one thing that most people in this community struggle with is how do we get new clients, new patients? So from a general marketing perspective, what are some of the basics a practice should pay attention to before they think about a membership plan marketing?
Absolutely. Yeah. So as a background, I'm a digital marketing advisor with Equa Marketing. And really, this is a lot of what I do is helping incorporate different aspects and anything from the ground up, right? So how do you create a digital footprint for yourself? How do you make yourself seen online? How can you be found? And then once you're found, why would somebody choose you? So really, I mean, when we talk about the general marketing perspective of things, it really comes down to, do you have a robust online presence where people can find you? Do you have proper landing pages and something that's dedicated to your membership plan? Right now, it's a well-known fact that 95% of websites get zero traffic from Google. So they're coming directly because maybe they know you or something along that. But people who don't know you, that's what we really want to bring out and bring in the door, right? Is being able to say, for someone who goes, I don't know where I want to go. Why do I want to choose somebody specifically? How do I differentiate who's different from the competition here? And that's really what you want to make sure, is that you're creating a strong online presence. It's a good, technically sound website, but really speaks to, again, in this case, your membership plan. Have a dedicated membership landing pages that really speaks to, those online member discounts on products and treatments, and, the additional benefits that might come from it. Make sure you have proper banners, a good, robust email campaign to the ones that are already going out. So make sure you're doing a monthly newsletter with a blast about it that's telling people about the program. Like, really, this membership program is a win for your patients. It's a huge impact for you and them. And you want to make sure, again, are you articulating what the services are? Are you articulating the savings that you can get from that? To Adrian's point, have a variety of plans behind this so that it's not necessarily a one size fits all, but something that can really help with a stepped plan to go through it. Be creative with your marketing. Again, maybe membership is something that's a little bit not as sticky as a bank, a vault, a wallet, or a loyalty reward, a club, something like that. But you really need to make sure that you've got a professionally designed site with proper landing pages that speak to what your services are and that really differentiate you, showing your expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. Because without that, it's great. You're going to be able to sell memberships to people that maybe that have been coming, but it's a lot slower to grow this than have a really great presence where people can find you, choose you, understand why that membership benefit plan is for them, and showcase what makes you different and why they're going to come and see you. This creates that long-term stickiness that people are looking for. So all incredible points here, but I really want to, again, turn it back to the panel here. This is an incredible panel, so much to take away from this, but without your table stakes in marketing, you're wasting the effort. And really, again, as Stephen and Adrian both said, you're leaving money on the table. And that's really what it comes down to, is don't leave money on the table in this case.
Thank you, Ryan. Stephen, I'm going to go back to you. What are the types of membership plans practice owners can implement? You already touched on it. And and I guess the follow-up question might be more relevant. What is the simplest plan that you think people should start with?
So the simplest plan is the one that you can execute the best. So some of you may be saying, well, I don't have an EMR that has a way to do a beauty bank. And so sometimes it's like, well, maybe that's not the best type. You also want to balance that with what services and what offers are you going to create, right? So similar to what Ryan just spoke about, your offer, how you present it, how it's marketed, right? And so, for example, aesthetic practices that also do wellness, right? So medical weight loss is big. That's a treatment you do every month. So is like health coaching, right? So if you're a medical weight loss, you also provide health coaching, right? Those are two things that happen every month that are good for a monthly type membership. A lot of practices do like monthly facials. That can get a little bit difficult because eventually you get tired doing facials, right? Every single month. And you're like, I really, now I feel like I have to do a facial because I have to use the money or I'm going to lose it, right? As Sarah mentioned, right? So if that's in their contract and you're going to take their money, that's a quick way to get people to cancel your memberships. So what you want to do is you can rotate it through a series. I've seen that work well, right? So say it's $150 a month or it's $200 a month. And you're going to rotate that through they can choose between 5 different things and apply that money toward that treatment each month. So it reduces the cost. That's one way to do it. The other way is kind of like Adrian said, and also what we do is having that banking of the money. That's good for higher ticket and lower, how am I going to say this? For high ticket, low volume, right? And then you have high volume, low ticket, right? So they're kind of both different. One promotes long-term loyalty, one promotes more cash flow. The monthly treatments promote cash flow, whereas your higher ticket, lower volume promotes long-term loyalty, as well as overall spending. So you want to keep in mind, what is the dollar amount you want your patient to spend per year? And how do we get them to that dollar amount, right? Because for most of us, everybody needs three things. It may be a little bit different of what they need, but throughout the year, they're going to need three things, right? And so what services, what three things do you offer that can apply to those memberships to keep them on their membership plan, to get them the best result, right? Now you have a raving fan, you have someone who tells all their friends. And so that's what I would recommend.
Thank you, Stephen. Sarah, I'm going to go to you next. And these are actual questions from the hundreds of people who wanted to attend this event. And even now we have, more than 100 people live. The questions are like, what are some of the legal considerations? For example, charging credit cards, monthly reimbursements, unfulfilled commitments. I know you kind of touched on it already, so I just want you to build on what you started talking about from a legal perspective.
Yeah, so if you're going to store people's credit cards and charge them monthly for some set amount, you have to do it pursuant to some kind of contract. They have to give you an authorization. Or in the early days of memberships, in 2015 when we were doing this, we acquired a practice and all their membership contracts were like pieces of paper. They had people's credit cards and expiration dates and, in a drawer. You can't really do that these days. It's against the law to store data that way. You have to have a contract. And then it has to have clear provisions in terms of when is it refundable and how do people cancel if they want to cancel. I think that there are all these different types of memberships that could be implemented. The most common one that we see from the contracts that we've done is the one where there's banking, but there should be some expiration to the banking because there are some states, like for example, in Delaware, if you have people's money on your account and they don't use it after some number of years, I think 5, you have to turn it over to the state. So there are these regulations that exist out there where if you're keeping people's money, you can't just then sell your practice or go away with people's money. So that's one pitfall. Another pitfall is, what do you do? And we've been involved in a couple of these. Like, what do you do? Let's say somebody signed up for a 1-year membership with your practice and your minimum term is a year. And after 6 months, let's say they lost their job and they decided to cancel the membership. What do? Do you honor the contract or do you try to go after them for the money? And a lot of times people come to us and they say, well, can you help us go after our member and collect this money from them? And at that point, I think the practical advice is it's not a good idea to antagonize with your customers in this way. So you have to remember that if you have a membership and you have a minimum commitment, some people, like let's say you could make some financial calculation, like 10%, are not going to honor that financial commitment and just plan for that, because getting legal involved to solve that problem will be more expensive. So that's one thing to consider with memberships, just that some people will break the contract no matter how tight it is and how great it is, and it's not going to be worth it to try to collect in this way. At least I don't think. And I feel bad taking people's money, and I just don't. When people say, well, we're gonna help us collect $500 from this person, it's just not worth it. So that's something definitely to keep in mind. Another thing is, there are some mandatory provisions in these contracts for when people move out of a certain geographical area. A lot of states have regulations about that. So if somebody comes to you and they're able to give you a utility bill that shows that they moved out of state, you technically in many states have to cancel the membership, even if your contract says that it's not refundable. But again, I think these are relatively small compared to the huge benefit you get if you have a really good membership with a really good membership contract. But like Ryan said, it's not like memberships magically will make your practice amazing. First, you have to get the clients, and then you could sell the memberships. The membership is just like buying a very expensive laser machine. People are not going to magically find out about it and run to your practice. First, you have to market to them. Then once they're in there or once they're on your website, you can convert them to, whatever it is that you're selling. But if your website only gets, 10 visitors a month, your membership program will not save your business.
That's a great thought, Sarah. Totally makes sense. Yeah, because it is a great tool, but you need, like it's like a canvas. You need things, things to paint. You need patience. So you need the patience coming in. I had a question, Sarah, as a follow-up. Do you have a membership plan? I know it's a dumb question. I didn't even prep you for this. So I don't know if it's a good question. Like, do you offer anything like this? Because I know you help, hundreds of practices. Do you help, like, is there a way that they can work with you in the same kind of a mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I practice what I preach. Of course, we have a membership plan.
Okay.
And that's the number one thing. That's the number one way people work with us. That's like what we suggest to people. It's our best price. And it fosters a really good long-term relationship where we're really, it's not just a one and done, like, here's your contract, see you later. It's more like we're here for you if you have questions, we have templates, all these other things. So I think, yeah, it's not even just for aesthetics practices. I think many different types of service businesses can have memberships and be very successful. I would say over 90% of our clients, and we have a multi-million-dollar practice, are on a membership plan. So I think, yeah, memberships are amazing. And I had this like aha moment years ago where a Botox rep came and she said, in Brilliant Distinctions, which was the old name for Allie, we have this wonderful statistic that says the average Botox person or patient comes in, I don't know, 2.4 times a year. And that would be amazing. Like, you should aim to have your practice be like these other practices that we see in our database where it's 2.4 or 2.1. And I was like, 2.4? Why don't they just come in every month? Wouldn't that be so much better? Why settle for 2.4? It would be so much better to talk to your clients more often, just like anyone you have a relationship with. Like, if you talk to your husband only once every, 6 months, that's not good. So this is the same thing. You want people to be happy. Having them commit and repeat is one of the ways to be happy. And I think memberships are really great for that.
Thank you. So I'm going to go to Adrian now. I know you have touched on some of these questions from the audience. So the question is, how do you encourage employees to sell membership plans, and how do you train team members on how to work with new patients, especially like on the phone? And do you talk about membership plans or not? So what I gathered from you, Adrian, is this is part of your DNA. In other words, you don't like say, oh, well, here is a membership plan. Do you want it? Like, hey, as part of that new patient experience, here is the price with the membership plan, and here is the price without the membership plan. Like you said, you don't even have to sell it. People are like, oops, like I'm not paying extra for the membership plan. It's just a bank, right? I just put money, but because I'm putting a certain amount of money, I get these discounts, and there are 3 levels of discounts. Oh, hey, let me put even more, so I get even more discount. So to me, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it is just built into the DNA of your business. You just thought about it totally differently right from day one. But so do you even talk about membership plans? Let's say somebody calls you on the phone, or you just don't even get to that till they come in and like it's only part of the new patient experience. I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we did touch on this a little bit, but yeah, so if a patient reach out and asks about pricing, anytime they ask about a price, we credential our practice, we credential who we are, we credential what we're about, we credential our culture, what our goals are for our patients. And then we will discuss, this is the price if you're not a member, this is the price if you're a member. So we will even send them the link to our Voxy Vault landing page on our website so they can kind of read more about it. We also have, lots of information about it on our social media. We're always, promoting our upcoming events, and everyone's kind of aware of it. And it's really fun to kind of hear what our patients have to say. Like when they go to check out at the front desk, they're like, oh my gosh, I only owe $50 today. Or, oh, wow, I have that much money on my account. Another thing I do personally to kind of help my patients with saving as much money as they possibly can is I will, before I go see the patient, I'll make sure I know how much money is in their Voxy Vault. I'll know how much money they have with Aspire. I'll know how much money they have with Allie. And all that information I have like on the front of my mind before I even see the patient. So I can kind of think through, okay, they've got this much money banked up today. You know, I know that they're always want to get their Botox, but if they have a little extra money, like what can they do? So it's just a great way to, you know, help patients save money, because they can save thousands of dollars a year being a member. So for instance, a normal syringe of filler here in Arkansas for me is $850. And our member pricing is 15% off of that. So you know, they're getting it closer to the $700 range. So already automatically they're saving $150 per syringe of filler. And so if you add that up over the years, and you know, as they're banking money and they're getting hundreds of dollars off on their neurotoxin as well, it really is, again, just a no-brainer. We don't even really have to sell it. Sometimes it can be confusing for patients, because when you ever mention membership, I think that scares people. So when we do better about really having my team, like educating my front desk staff, the medical assistant, pretty much everyone, we're kind of on board with how to communicate this with patients, because the way you communicate it with them is really the biggest thing. Making it make sense, because if they feel locked in, or they're subscribing to something that they're, you know, can't get out of, and we make canceling easy for people, because, you know, things can happen. They can get pregnant, they can do this. And Sarah touched on this earlier about like not trying, if they cancel before they're, you know, we have a 6-month commitment. So it'll happen where people, you know, something happens, a big financial obligation, or they're buying a house, or they get pregnant, or they're moving to another state, or whatever it may be, where they decide they need to cancel, and say it's before their 6-month commitment. Well, if they have money banked on their account still, we actually will use that money to pay back some of their discounts. But if they don't have any money banked on their account and they end up canceling, we're not like getting lawyers or anyone involved. We're just, you know, it is what it is. We'll, you know, let it be. But it's really rare that we have people cancel before the 6-month mark. I mean, we're pretty fortunate there, but every once in a while there are, you know, little things that pop up where they're moving or something like that, but it's not super common. We do keep a list of all of our cancellations, like everyone who has canceled and why. So we will reach back out to these patients and say, hey, and you know, we'd love to, you know, basically asking why, because we want to know why. We want to make sure they're happy, and if they're not happy, why weren't they happy? And so we have a very nice, you know, way of asking, you know, are you pregnant? Are you moving away? Is there another reason? And then they can kind of fill that out, and then that gives us feedback on how we're doing too.
Adrienne,
Does that answer your question?
absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. That's very helpful. Let me switch to Ryan. Ryan, so Sarah also touched on this. You know, we need new patients because membership plan is a tool to, you know, keep them coming back and spending money. But definitely it's all about patients, right? So what can we do to get new membership plan clients? Let's say this is becoming popular. A lot of people are realizing, you know, about, you know, savings and plans and so forth. What keywords do you think you should focus on? Any advice on Google reviews you want to encourage your patients to talk about? Because Adrienne already touched on this idea that, you know, it's out there. They talk about it very openly. It's not a secret. So like, here is a membership plan price and here's a regular price. So like, so what can we do from a marketing perspective to just really get the word out, not just to your current clients, but to everyone in the world? So hopefully they're seeking you out for this. And by the way, before you jump in, I have one quick question, Adrienne. Both Adrienne and Stephen, just give me like a 1 or 2 word answer. Like I know one of the things that people complain about is, you know, clients shop around. Oh, I know, you know, Botox should cost X and somebody else is giving it for, you know, like $200 less or $50 less. Can you match it on that kind of stuff? When you do membership plans, do you see that price shopping kind of go away?
We never use the membership to make the sale. We believe that patients should be on board with the treatment plan and the actual treatment at retail price before we offer the membership. So we really don't get any price shopping. The membership for us is like a cherry on top. It's like an, oh, by the way, if you'd like to save a little bit more, this is how.
So what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is you price it correctly. You don't like in other words, you know what everybody else is charging. You don't, wherever your pricing is, you make sure you're pricing it correctly.
Yeah,
like,
and we price by area for tox anyway, so we can always give you an exact price.
Right.
It doesn't matter how many units you need. So that's an advantage of charging by the area, because I can actually give you a price without even doing a consultation.
Got it. Adrian?
Yeah, similar to Stephen, we don't necessarily use the memberships to kind of, I mean, our membership, it's normal Botox is $14 a unit. If I remember, it's $12 a unit. So
So when you say $14, is that what the market rate is in your part of the country, so to speak? Okay, got it. So you price it, fairly. So it's not like the membership is, okay, got it. Makes sense. Ryan, go ahead on the marketing question.
Yeah, absolutely. And Naren, you stole my thunder a little bit on that one, because I was going to say, leverage your Google reviews. One of the biggest things I always hear from people that I work with is, do you know how hard it is to collect reviews from clients that don't want to talk about the treatments that they have done or things like that? But this is a way to get them to say and sing your praises and get that out there. And it becomes a very good SEO keyword laden way so that you get found. When people end up discovering you, what do we all do? Doesn't matter. I do it. It's my mom will tell me, go to a restaurant, and I'm like, it's the best. She tells me it's the best restaurant, you're gonna love it. And the first thing I do is go, I'm gonna see what a bunch of strangers have to say about this restaurant first. And I go through their reviews and I want to read them because I trust them. I trust my mother, but I trust them too, right? And I want to get that crowdsourcing behind it. How incredibly impactful is it if when they're already wanting to learn more about you, they're diving into these Google reviews and seeing, okay, what is this membership plan? Lots of people are raving about this. This seems like a great place to go. And this is just, again, that cherry on top for another reason to come here, right? And I'll defer to everybody else with maybe a nod or maybe a no, but I'm assuming the best thing that can happen is when someone comes in and says, tell me about your membership plan and how I become a part of it, right? Like, because they've already discovered it, they've seen it online, they've heard about it from someone, they've seen it in the Google reviews. Like you said, it becomes this thing that you're not selling it. It's this way of showing appreciation and loyalty and bringing them something more, right? And it's creating a differentiator for yourself. So you really want to, from that marketing perspective, again, you mentioned what keywords do you want to focus on? You want to focus on the keywords that are, again, what does your membership plan cover? Why does it cover that? What are the benefits for it? You want to, again, speak to people who don't know you to tell them about why this is such a great thing. And again, if you're doing it right and someone's searching Botox near me or whatever service it is, and it's part of your membership plan, you're not just appearing once in the Google search results. You're appearing again and again, because it's like, here's my Botox page, here's my membership page about Botox, here's my expertise on this, right? So you become this dominant force for people to say, well, they must really be good at this because I'm seeing them over and over and over again and bring it forward. And as you mentioned, really bring that into those reviews as well. It's a great way to ask for a review. It's a great way to be able to collect and get all those wonderful 5-star reviews and position them. And then again, position them on that landing page. Your membership page should have reviews about your membership and why people love it and what they're hearing about it and testimonials to it. So again, it becomes this, self-serving machine in terms of, you've got people that are coming in, you've got loyalty for it, you've got recurring revenue that is going to bring more recurring revenue and more of the exact ideal patients that you're looking for, because you're able to position it so well, create these dedicated marketing landing pages for it, and really drive the point home. Again, reducing barriers to entry for people that are looking for it, creating a differentiator for yourself. That is always the biggest thing that you want to make sure you're doing.
Thank you. I want to kind of continue on that question. So Adrian, one of the questions I think we asked before, and you didn't kind of touch on, but perhaps you could touch on, is what are some of the things you can do to encourage your team members to get on board in supporting this membership plan, communicating it, like you said, that which is key, and really helping, sell it and help people, sign up to the membership plan. And also, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I think just it should be a discussion with every single patient from the time the patient walks in the front door. So with Repeat MD, it's kind of like we have an app on our phone. They can also check in, they become like a rewards member, if you will. So they can get rewards for how many times they check into the practice. So say they've been in 3 times, we have a special reward for if you've been 3 times, then you can get, say you get you buy a facial and you can get an upgrade on it, for instance. It's not like something completely free. It's like you buy something and you get something with it. So that's kind of a rewards thing. And so our patients can kind of check in. So that's something that they can become rewards members right away, right when they walk in the front door. It's something our front desk staff helps with. And then when they get brought back to the room, then I'll do my consultation, and then it's the next step is our medical assistant talks through the member versus non-member pricing. And everyone's excited about it. Like, we really love talking about our community.
So you're saying you don't say, hey, sell a membership plan, you'll get so many dollars. You don't do that, correct?
No, it's a
part
team.
of the, okay.
I feel like my team culture with our practice right now is like everyone on our team, we love to work together. We love to build up our community. We again have that goal of every new patient to member, basically turning 85% of our new patients into members. And when we hit those goals, it's like, a exciting thing. And I reward them for it by, lunch on Friday or coffee for everyone. Or we just have, when we hit certain goals, depending on what they are throughout the business, that's one of the goals we have is like new patients to member turnover. And we've been really great at hitting that mark. So we just make it a fun team culture of building our Voxy community, and holding these VIP events. So I think something that also sets us apart is our events. So we are building community. We bring people together. We host free events for our VIPs. So for instance, when the Barbie movie came out, we rented 2 theaters because it booked up so fast that we ended up renting out 2 full theaters, and I bought everyone an alcoholic beverage and a popcorn. And it was a free event for everyone, and we had a best dressed competition. So whoever came dressed as the best Barbie got a free full face harmonization. And they could enter in the contest with taking pictures and posting to social media. We have a top golf event coming up next month. So, so we've rented out 5 bays, and we have food and drinks for everyone. I'm not trying to sell anything at these events. I'm just trying to, reward my loyal, community and like the people who are part of that. And so it's really fun to do that for people because like for, Ryan, like marketing, like we can spend money on like digital ads and all these things and social media and like, marketing money, but we can also just spend that money on building our community and building loyalty and just rewarding those people for being part of it. And that's been a really fun thing for me. It's like, I'm all about spending money on parties and having fun. It's fun.
Let me go to Stephen. Stephen, you talked a lot about, the components of a successful membership plan. You talked about tactics and techniques and what's important and not. You didn't touch on, how do you use marketing to drive new membership plan? So can you talk about that, especially getting new patients, as well as getting them to, buy into membership plans?
Yeah. So for us, we have a very specific way we do consultations. We sell best in person. Someone asked in the comments earlier, how did we lose $1 million by not providing a membership? And our conversion rates, say via like an email automation or email marketing, right, is under 10%. So when we first started, we had about 200 patients, 8 to 9 months in. When we sent out a series of emails that were well crafted, well said, we used story, right? We got about 9 people signed up out of 200. When in person, when we offer the memberships at the end of the consultation, about 25 to 30% of every single new patient signs up for the membership. And that's a really important distinction, right? So if you're a provider who struggles to sell, right, there may need to be an automated process in that. Or do you have an automated way to market to the people who don't sign up, right? So if 25 to 30% sign up the first time, their day of, do you have a way of following up with them? Do you know who didn't by name in your system? Do you know who didn't sign up? Do you have a way of reaching out to those people? We really like Keep, which is, used to be called Infusionsoft. It's a CRM, right? And so that's how we keep track of people, right? So who hasn't bought it? And then they get put into an automated sales cycle through emails. And then during the follow-up process, providers know whether or not they're on it. Some people, they don't buy into the membership until they have got a great result. They're happy with us, right? They kind of want to test us out at first. They weren't sure if they wanted to commit to a 6-month membership. And so are you presenting the membership again in the follow-ups? We use things like for patients who have been with us 6 months and who haven't signed up, we calculate how much they could have saved, right, had they been with us this entire time. And we'll say, for example, you could have saved $800 so far, right? Moving forward, this is your treatment plan, right? Would you like to take advantage of 800 additional savings this year because you didn't last year, right? So that's a technique. So I would just determine, do it in person, and then make sure you have a follow-up sales cycle to convert the ones who don't on the first try.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Appreciate it. So this is the final round. This is, and I want to start with Sarah. Sarah, and I'm going to ask the same question of all of you. And I'm also going to ask you to, talk a little bit about how you can help them, how your firm can help them. I know, Sarah, I know many of the people here are your clients. You run a very, very successful law firm. So I definitely want to ask you for that. So Sarah, what's your final piece of advice? And once you're done, then I'll ask you more about your company.
For memberships, I think my final piece of advice is to keep it simple. If you want to launch memberships in your practice, maybe launch like a 1 or 2 tier structure, and don't try to make your membership overly complicated, and make sure that just like in Adrian's practice and in Stephen's practice, everyone is really bought into it in your practice, like, because it's going to be a really big group effort in terms of selling it. So I think that my advice is pretty simple. Just keep it simple. Don't wait to launch the perfect membership. You could always pivot, but it's going to be hard if you for 5 years have been running a practice and all of a sudden there's this new membership. It's of course going to be easier from the start. You have a membership, but even if you're launching one from scratch, you could always work with a marketing consultant to help you launch it and make it great. It doesn't have to be perfect for you to launch it. I would just say just try it.
Yeah, keep it simple. Just get started. Get your team on board. Second question, Sarah, like I know you have a membership plan. So talk a little bit about your firm. What can you do for the people here, the large community of people, and also maybe a little bit about your membership plan?
Sure. So we have, in essence, 3 different membership plans. The way that they work is you get a bunch of legal hours banked. So you don't have to, use them in any, in the first month or anything like that. So you have about a year to use the membership dollars. And then the membership also gives you discounts on our hourly rates. So similar to a product-based membership, you get 15% off our hourly rates with our premium membership. And then we have a big template library. So a lot of times the contracts that people ask us for are pretty routine, and we already have those drafted because we did them for another client, 5 days ago. So we just have that as part of a complimentary template library that we share with our members. And like I said, probably about 90% of our clients are on the membership program because, again, with just a regular retainer, they don't get the 15% savings. They don't get the template library. So it's a no-brainer. All of our conversations are about joining the membership, really, because without that, that's really the best value of the practice.
Yeah, I really like this idea of banking money, right? Because anything, right? Whether it's an aesthetic practice or going to a lawyer, nobody likes that $3,000 bill. But if the money is banked and now I have it, and on top of that, I'm getting 15% off, I'm getting all these extra goodies, agreements, et cetera, et cetera. That's an awesome deal. And it's just like, when you need someone, there's somebody on your corner you can call. There's somebody who can make sure you're not going to get in trouble because you can get your I's dotted and T's crossed. What's the website, Sarah, real quick?
The website is lengialaw.com. It's kind of a mouthful, but it's lenga law.com. And the other thing that the membership is really good for is if, God forbid, there's a board investigation or some urgent employment issue, or, someone quits on a Friday night and you were supposed to go on vacation the next day, which seems to happen every time you're trying to go on vacation as a business owner, like some weird situation like that. The membership is good for that because then you have an attorney on call. So
that's brilliant. Yeah, so our team will put the link, and if you want to add any specific additional links on top of that, I think they already put the link here. And also, if somebody wants to, I think they can even book a meeting with you, right? If they want to talk further about any challenges they have. So if you can take a look at that link. Let me go to Stephen. Stephen, same question. What advice do you have? And part two, how can you help them? I know you also provide training, so if you can talk about that, Stephen.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing I would recommend is to start small, think very clearly about the offer you want to give, and then I'll give everybody a quick piece of information about how to charge. Like, what should I charge for a membership, right? So I've created a mathematical equation that works really well for at least a starting ballpark. Okay, so it's the retail price of the treatment minus your offer, right? So if you have a percentage off or any other cross-selling opportunities, and then divide that by the treatment frequency. How often do these treatments happen, right? So for an example, if your tox is $600, you're going to give 10% off. That's $600 minus $60. That equals $540 divided by 3 months if they get tox every 3 months. So that means the monthly membership amount would be $180, right? Let's say you push that. Let's say it's a little too much, a little too high. You don't think people are going to pay that. Then you could push it out to 4 months, right? And that would be $135 per month, right? So somewhere between $135 and $180 would be the sweet spot for how to price your membership. Because that's one of the biggest questions I get is they kind of know what they want to do, but they don't know what to charge. They also don't know how to manage their membership. So if your EMR does not have a membership feature, or it has a membership feature and you just don't like it, there are some off aesthetic market Subscription Flow. That is an app that you can use. I know other aesthetic practices use that and they're happy with it. So if you don't want to change your EMR, you don't want to try to create something completely different and mess up your POS, you can try to go to Subscription Flow and see if that type of membership program will work for you.
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about your training website?
Yeah,
program?
Absolutely. The best place to get a hold of me is on Facebook. So Elevate Medical Aesthetic Training is my Facebook page. On that page, I've created a PDF document that you can download about how to start an aesthetic membership. Okay, it's going to go through the different types, similar to what we did today. It's going to go through how to charge, and then that's going to be updated over time to include some other things. But I want to make sure everyone had a free resource they could use. It's basically a synopsis of what we talked about today. So you can go to my Facebook page there and download that. You can also reach out to me via email. That's Steven@elevateyourestheticpractice.com. And I basically do aesthetic coaching and consulting specifically for business. So if you feel like you're all alone, you don't have a practice manager, maybe it's just you and a spouse, or just you, and you're the chief everything officer wearing 12 hats, and you just feel like you need another set of eyes in your practice, or you want to grow and you just don't know how. Maybe you've been throwing mud at the wall for several years just to see what sticks. Book a consultation. We'll go through some ideas. We'll go through your practice. We'll give you some recommendations what you can do. And then you can book a series of coaching calls or even consultation. So if there's something you want to do, you don't have the time to do it, there are projects that I will do for you specifically. So like marketing funnels, right? So marketing people are great. They're wonderful. But if you don't have an idea of what you want to sell, how you want to sell it, and how you want to present it, it makes it hard for your marketer, right? So having a plan like that kind of already prepared for them will just make your marketing dollars go so much further. And so, yeah, I'm available for that.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Adrian, I want to save you for last, and I'm going to ask you a slightly different question. So think about this. What are 3 things you want people leaving here to do if they're serious about membership plans, right? So 3 things, no more than 3. 1, 2, 3. Ryan, I have a question for you. This is, of course, your last question. How can you help? I know, again, I want to be full disclosure. I'm the founder of Equa Marketing, and we started Business of Aesthetics. So Ryan, I know Ryan very well. So Ryan, how can you help? Can you talk a little bit about what you do, specifically what we call the marketing strategy meeting, and perhaps how somebody can take advantage of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit already, and it's, you've got to have table stakes in your marketing, right? You need to have a website that can actually be found and that is set up in the right way and can present a marketing plan properly. One of the things that I feel, and maybe I don't know if I'm alone on the panel or not feeling about this, but I kind of feel like the membership plan is eventually going to become table stakes in the world of aesthetics, where people are going to search it. And if they say you don't have a membership plan, that could be something that drives them away from it, right? Or it's not well explained or things like that. So make sure you're ground floor on it, that because I still consider this, fairly early in adoption, and that you have a plan that's marketed, right? Because marketing a membership plan to your current patients is easy, but getting a membership plan marketed to patients that don't know you is not. So that's really where digital marketing is going to come strongly into play. Local SEO in particular is where it really helps your practice show up when patients are looking for the services in your community that your membership plan covers. So use digital marketing to make sure you get new patients through the door, that you can support this membership plan and continue to grow it, and then use the membership plan to keep them coming back, to really create that stickiness, that loyalty, and grow your practice and your membership plan from that sense. So in order to do that, again, you kind of need to know where you're at now. Are you set up for that successfully? If you're implementing it, do you have a site that's ready to implement it? Are you positioning it in the right way? Do you have the right keywords on the pages? Are you doing all of the right things to be able to be successful, so that when you launch it, you're not going, well, I was part of this wonderful webinar and now I'm not getting any membership sign. No one's asking about it and things like that, right? What am I doing wrong? So this is a great place to start. I know, as you mentioned, I provide a marketing strategy meeting where I'll sit down. We do a one-on-one consultation of what is your plan? Or do you have a membership plan now or not? Are you thinking about one? What's your plan for the future? How would you market it? How do you want to position it? What's your brand? What's your voice? All of those types of things. So we cover that, and then we cover all of the other pieces, like, are you even being found now? Are you being found for the services your membership plan covers? Do you have the right elements in place for people to find you and choose you? So I know that the link is there in the chat to be able to sign up for that. We will spend an hour together. I promise you, I will be delightful and entertaining as possible through that to really help. But it's one-on-one about you. It's not the generic, like, well, here's a plan and here's kind of the guidelines, but it's, what are you doing? Let's find out. Let's dig deep there. It's at businessofesthetics.org/MSM, and that is where you can find a link to my calendar and spend an hour to go through how to implement this for you and market it properly, so you get this thing off the ground on the right foot.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard quite a few people say, like, it's the best 1 hour they've spent on any marketing meeting. So it's a great use of time. Ryan spent 6 hours figuring out how you're doing with marketing and also giving you a plan so you could dominate marketing. At the end of the day, I think it's all about having an unfair advantage. I do think after being through this presentation, membership plan is an unfair advantage if you know how to play your cards right. Just listening to the people here, it's pretty obvious, right? Because now the patients don't have to worry about price because it's already banked. They just use the money that's already banked. They feel good about it. Oh, I'm only spending $50. That's amazing. Even though it's their money, they feel it's a good thing. And also you're giving them value for their loyalty. You're giving them discounts and so forth. So it's amazing. It's an unfair advantage. I think SEO and Google is another unfair advantage. 95% of the practices have to pay Google tons of money for ads. If you can be in the 5% where you don't have to because of SEO, you dominate SEO, then I think that's really awesome. So businessofesthetics.org/MSM. Adrian, coming back to you, you're going to kind of close this off for us. Tell us 3 things that you want everyone to think about and do. So hopefully they'll remember those 3 things and they'll take some action.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say, the first thing is, hiring help, like getting the help, like the people on this panel, Sarah, Stephen, Ryan. I mean, they're all a wealth of knowledge. They can really help guide you with the legal things, the business side of things, planning the memberships, the marketing of the memberships. I haven't done it alone. I've also built a team to help me guide me through a lot of this. I have a marketing team I've built. I have a business advisor. I have help. It's not all done alone. That is for sure. And the next thing is, setting your goals. What is your goal with this membership program? And lead with that. If you know specifically what your goal is, that can really help you. So, who is your consumer? Are they younger patients? Are they older patients? Do they typically spend more money? Do they not spend a lot of money? You can be successful with a $25 a month membership. If you figure it out and make that work, you can do that. However you want to reward loyalty, figure out your niche and what works for you and your location, because every practice is obviously very different. So set your goals, and then, have fun, like really enjoy, like have fun with your team, make it a fun community, experience for everyone. Your patients will see the love and fun you have with it as well. Everyone will feel special, make everyone feel special. That's also a huge part, because when we have our, Voxy VIP events, all our patients feel very special. We make our VIPs feel extra special too. They get priority booking. They get very, like a very concierge experience. And so the experience is a huge part of that too. But yeah, y'all are welcome to reach out to me with questions. I think they have my contact info that they'll share here in the chat. I'm happy to help. I also have, my twin sister is a business consultant for me. She's my identical twin sister, and we're so different. It's hilarious, but she's been great. And then her business partner, Ratchet, has been a great help for me. And I have a training business, my Art of Injecting training. So if you have new injectors that are needing training or even advanced training for your injectors, check us out at Art of Injecting. And you can also follow me at my Instagram, Love Your Skin PA. You can kind of see how we do our memberships and how we're promoting it. You can follow our Voxy Aesthetics Instagram as well to kind of look at how our social media promotes things. And I'm a new business. I'm learning too. So I'm happy to help, where I can, but obviously time is small for me right now with a new baby. I have a new baby. And so I'm sure Stephen can be a lot more help with, but yeah, you're welcome to reach out to me.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Adrian. And thank you, Ryan. I had a lot of fun. I learned so much today and appreciate it. I know everyone is here till the very end. So thank you for this awesome time and awesome presentation. I know it ran 12 minutes over, but I think it's worth every extra minute. Have a wonderful night and enjoy the rest of the evening. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Business of Aesthetic podcast series, brought to you by our gold sponsor, Equa Marketing. Would you like to join our growing group of aesthetic industry experts and get featured on the Business of Aesthetics podcast? Or do you know someone who would love to share their strategies for growth in the aesthetic business, providing quality patient care or their clinical expertise? Head over to www.businessofesthetics.org podcast show and apply to be featured as a guest on the show. Remember to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen. If you would like to engage with today's speakers or any of our past speakers, join our Facebook group or LinkedIn group by searching for Business of Aesthetics. Thank you, and have a great day.